At 2:13 a.m., the emergency line lit up. Operator Daniel Reeves almost didn't answer it in time. Not because he was distracted, but because something about the call itself was off. There was no caller ID, no automatic location ping, just a blinking line. He picked up. 911, what's your emergency? Silence. Not empty silence. Breathing. Slow. Measured. Like someone trying very hard not to be heard. Daniel frowned. Hello? Can you hear me? Then finally, a whisper. I think he's inside again. Daniel froze. Again. That word shouldn't have been there. Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. What is your name? Pause. Longer than normal. Sarah. Sarah. Where are you calling from? Another pause. Then something unexpected. I don't know if I should tell you. Daniel's fingers hovered over the keyboard. That had never happened before. Sarah, we're here to help you. We need your location. Her breathing changed. Faster now. He doesn't like it when I talk about the house. A chill ran through Daniel's spine. Who doesn't like it? Silence. Then, a creak. Not from the line. From her side. Real. Close. And then, he's listening. 3 weeks before that call, Sarah Mitchell moved into a house that didn't exist in any recent records. That's not an exaggeration. When detectives later pulled property data, they found something strange. The house had been bought and sold 3 times in 5 years. Each time, cash. Each time, new owner. And each time, no forwarding address. It was like the house changed hands, without anyone ever staying long enough to leave a trace. But Sarah didn't know that. To her, it was just a cheap listing. Quiet place. A fresh start. Because Sarah Mitchell wasn't just moving. She was running. 2 months before she moved, Sarah had filed a report. Not a crime. Not exactly. Just a concern. She told the officer that someone had been entering her apartment. Not stealing anything. Not breaking anything. Just moving things. The officer asked the usual questions. Signs of forced entry. Witnesses. Security footage. There was nothing. The report was logged. And quietly forgotten. But Sarah didn't forget. Because the feeling followed her. From apartment to house. The first week in the new house felt normal. Too normal. Like the silence was waiting. Watching. Then came the cabinet. Then the chair. Then the sound in the walls. But this time, it was different. Because the sounds weren't random. They followed her. When she moved, they stopped. When she stayed still, they started again. Like something was adjusting. Learning. Sarah didn't just feel watched. She felt understood. That was the terrifying part. The house wasn't reacting randomly. It was reacting to her. Her routine. Her movements. Her habits. It was like someone inside the house knew her schedule better than she did. One night, Sarah did something she hadn't tried before. She recorded. She placed her phone in the hallway, camera on, pointed toward the darkness, and she left it there overnight. In the morning, she watched the footage. First, nothing. Just an empty hallway. Still. Silent. Then, at 2:11 a.m., the camera shifted. Not much. Just slightly. Like something brushed past it. Sarah leaned closer. Rewound. Played again. This time she saw it. Not clearly. Not fully. But enough. A shadow. Moving against the direction of the light. When police later reviewed that footage, they noticed something Sarah didn't. The timestamp. 2:11 a.m. 2 minutes before the 911 call. Which meant whatever was in that hallway was already there before she picked up the phone. When dispatch logs were pulled, another detail emerged. There had been a call from the same line 2 nights earlier. Same time, same duration, but no recording, just dead air. No voice, no report, no follow-up. Meaning, someone had tried to call before and failed. By the second week, Sarah wasn't just afraid. She was different. She stopped using certain rooms, stopped turning on lights, started whispering, even when she was alone. And then came the journals. She began writing everything down. every sound, every movement, every detail, as if she was documenting something, not for herself, but for someone else to find. When detectives later reviewed her journal, they found an entry written in different handwriting. Same pen, same notebook, different style. It said, "You are not as quiet as you think." The night before the 911 call, Sarah didn't sleep. She sat in her room, door closed, lights off, listening. At exactly 2:10 a.m., she heard it. Not in the walls, not in the hallway, inside her room. A breath, not hers. Back to the call. Daniel is still on the line, still listening, still trying to understand. "Sarah, I need you to stay with me. Tell me exactly what is happening." Her voice is barely there now. "He's not outside anymore." Daniel's grip tightens. "Where is he?" A pause. Then, "He's inside the room." And then, the sound of movement. Close, too close. And then, a second voice. Not loud, not clear, but unmistakable. Right before the line cuts, she finally noticed. The last thing the operator heard before the line went dead was not Sarah. It was someone else. A second voice. Calm, controlled, close. She finally noticed. That detail would later become the center of the entire investigation. Because when police arrived, there was no one else in the house. Officers Carter and Ruiz were the first to arrive. They reached the house in just under 6 minutes. But even before they stepped out of the car, something felt off. The street was too quiet. No dogs barking. No lights turning on in nearby houses. No movement. Just stillness. Ruiz noticed it first. The door. Carter followed his gaze. The front door wasn't closed. It was slightly open. Not forced. Not damaged. Just open. Like someone had left in a hurry. Or let someone in. They entered with weapons drawn. Standard procedure. But within seconds, both officers realized something strange. The house wasn't disturbed. No signs of struggle. No overturned furniture. No broken glass. Everything looked placed carefully, almost too carefully, like someone had taken the time to make sure nothing looked wrong. Upstairs, they found the bedroom. Door open. Lights off. Inside, Sarah's phone lay on the floor. Screen still lit. Call still active. But Sarah was gone. The bed was unmade. Sheets slightly pulled. But no signs of a struggle. No blood. No fingerprints. Nothing. Carter muttered under his breath. "This doesn't make sense." Ruiz didn't respond, because he had just noticed something else. The window. It was locked. From the inside. Within the first hour, detectives arrived. And within the first hour, they hit a wall. There was no clear way in, and no clear way out. The doors were intact. The windows were secured. No forced entry. And yet, someone had been inside. They had heard it on the call. The operator confirmed it. 2 voices, not one. So where did the second person go? The 911 call recording was analyzed immediately. Audio specialists enhanced the final seconds. What they found raised more questions than answers. The second voice was not coming from the same distance as Sarah. It was closer, much closer, too close, almost as if the speaker was standing right behind her. Investigators began a full structural scan of the house. Walls, floors, ceilings, everything. At first, nothing appeared unusual. But then, they found it. A discrepancy in the layout. The internal measurements didn't match the external structure. There was space, unaccounted for. The panel wasn't obvious. It wasn't behind a bookshelf or under a rug. It was inside the wall of a narrow hallway closet. Perfectly flush, almost invisible. When they pried it open, cold draft rushed out. And behind it, darkness. Not just a crawl space, a network. This wasn't someone hiding temporarily. This was planned. The crawl space connected multiple parts of the house. Hallway to bedroom, bedroom to kitchen, kitchen to an external exit. Whoever built it, designed it for movement, for observation, for access. Inside they found a food containers, bottled water, the flashlight, and something new, a small notebook. At first, investigators assumed it belonged to the intruder, but when they opened it, they froze, because the handwriting matched Sarah's. Every page, detailed observations, dates, times, notes, but not about her life, about herself. Entries read like surveillance logs. Subject wakes at 7:12 a.m. Subject checks hallway twice before sleeping. Subject becoming aware of patterns. The language was clinical, detached, like someone studying behavior, not living it, not experiencing it, documenting it. Investigators compared the notebook with her personal journal. They were completely different. Her journal was emotional, fearful, confused, but the notebook was precise, objective, cold. It didn't read like Sarah writing about herself. It read like someone else, writing about Sarah. Then came a break. A neighbor came forward. Reluctantly, he said he had seen Sarah outside the house, late at night, more than once, but something about it didn't feel right. She wasn't acting normal, he said. How so? She wasn't walking. That caught their attention. What do you mean? She was standing still for a long time, just looking at the house. Detectives began considering something disturbing. What if the person inside the crawl space was not a stranger? What if it was Sarah? Investigation splits. Two theories. Theory 1, an intruder was living inside the house, watching her, studying her, and eventually took her. Theory 2, Sarah was not alone in the way they thought. There was another version of her, someone mimicking her, observing her, replacing her. The crawl space led to an external opening, hidden behind overgrown bushes, could be accessed without being seen from the street. And there were signs of recent use, footprints, partial, but clear enough. Someone had left, recently, quickly. Forensic analysis of Sarah's phone revealed something shocking. At the exact time she called 911, her phone registered movement, not from the bedroom, from the hallway, which meant she wasn't where she said she was. If Sarah wasn't in the bedroom, then who was speaking? And who was the second voice? And more importantly, who was the one holding the phone? During a second review of her phone, investigators found a hidden file, a short video, recorded just hours before the call. In it, Sarah is sitting on her bed, looking directly at the camera. But she's not speaking. She's listening. Then slowly, she whispers, "If you're seeing this, it already knows." The camera shifts slightly, and in the reflection behind her, for less than a second, another figure appears, standing in the doorway, perfectly still. At this point, the case changes. It is no longer a simple disappearance. It is no longer a break-in. It becomes something else entirely, because now there is only one question that matters. Was Sarah being watched, or was she being replaced? The video from Sarah's phone haunted investigators. A shadow, a second presence, standing still, observing. A whisper, "If you're seeing this, it already knows." Who or what was in her house, and how did they vanish without a trace? The city's best detectives knew this was no ordinary disappearance. Detectives dug into the house's history. What they found was chilling. Built in the 1960s by a recluse inventor. Several neighbors recalled odd noises at night, even decades ago. Previous tenants left suddenly. No explanation, no sightings. Even more disturbing, the inventor had a secret obsession with observation and replication of human behavior. He had designed walls, hidden spaces, and rooms meant to monitor every corner. The house itself was a trap, not just a home, a machine, for someone or something to watch. Detectives spoke to Sarah's closest friends. They all described her as normal, cautious, kind-hearted. No history of mental illness. Yet something had shifted in the weeks leading up to the disappearance. As she grew secretive, she mentioned feeling watched. As she stopped answering texts promptly. One friend, Emily, recalled Sarah saying, "I think someone is living in my walls, but I can't prove it." At the time, Emily thought it was paranoia. Now it seemed terrifyingly real. Audio experts returned to the 911 call. They enhanced every nuance. The second voice, calm, controlled, artificially modulated. It wasn't a stranger in the traditional sense. It had knowledge. Knowledge only Sarah or someone replicating Sarah would know. The voice wasn't just behind her. It was inside her life. Detectives began considering the impossible. What if the figure in the reflection was Sarah herself? Or something pretending to be her? The notebook in the crawlspace now made sense. It was a log of Sarah's behavior, but written by a copy. Someone or something had studied her meticulously, and then had replaced her. Investigators revisited the external crawlspace exit. They found partial footprints, disturbance in soil, broken twigs. It suggested a rapid departure. But neighbors reported seeing Sarah outside the night before the call, standing still, watching, silent. The pieces began to align. The real Sarah may have been forced into observation. The second presence, her copy, was free to act. With this revelation, detectives faced a nightmare scenario. Original Sarah, trapped, possibly alive, possibly hidden. Imposter Sarah, moving freely, living her life, calling 911 to mislead authorities. The question became existential. If the imposter is indistinguishable, how do you find the real one? Digital forensics revealed hidden footage on Sarah's computer. Multiple short clips, each recorded in her home, each showing Sarah doing daily activities. But in every video, one detail differed: the shadows, the posture, the subtle way her fingers tapped. Detectives realized the imposter wasn't perfect. Almost perfect, just enough to unsettle the subconscious. The police returned to the house with specialized equipment. Thermal cameras, emotion detectors, audio sensors. The house revealed its secrets. In one hidden room behind the crawlspace, they found a life-sized figure. Not Sarah, but eerily similar. Wearing her clothes, mimicking her mannerisms. The real Sarah, still missing. The imposter's eyes followed every movement. It knew they were there. The notebook, video, and digital logs painted a terrifying picture. The imposter was learning. Every gesture, every habit, every subtle quirk. It was programming itself to become Sarah. By the time of the 911 call, it could speak her words convincingly, even panic convincingly. It had fooled everyone. Detectives realized the implication. Whoever or whatever was behind this was not human in a conventional sense. It observed, replicated, and manipulated. It could be anywhere. The 911 call, the video, the notebook, all were breadcrumbs. A trail left intentionally. For what purpose? The imposter finally acted. It tried to leave the house using the hidden crawlspace. Motion sensors activated. Police rushed in. But when they reached the exit, the imposter vanished. No traces, no footprints, no signal. It had learned too well, too fast. Weeks later, the house was secured. Search efforts continued, and no sign of the real Sarah. Then, an email arrived at the detective's office. "I am her, or I am her shadow. You will never know the difference. But she is safe. For now." Attached, a single video. It showed a figure human enough watching a forest. Alone, silent, waiting. The screen went black. Sarah's disappearance was real. But the version of Sarah everyone saw may never have been her. The house, the notebook, and the video logs revealed an intelligence that could observe, adapt, and replace. The case remains unsolved. The city sleeps, unaware that in one unremarkable house, a perfect imitation of a woman walked freely. And the real Sarah may never return. Did the story send chills down your spine? And from which city are you tuning in tonight? Let's meet in the comments. If you enjoyed this dark tale, you can support me with a super thanks so I can keep uncovering more gripping true crime stories for you. Thank you so much for your support. It helps me bring even more suspenseful narratives to life. I'm looking forward to your thoughts on this mystery. There's a lot more waiting for you on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next chilling story with intrigue and respect.